I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
With everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
welcome to the sesh.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Cannabis School.
Yeah. Shit. Today marks 3 years from the day we launched, actually.
Where we were so worried that we weren't going to sound professional.
Dude, do you remember the first, at the beginning, we went downstairs, sat in that room. We had cameras for some weird reason, and we were sitting around with 2 different mics, and I think we recorded that intro episode 10, 15 times at least.
Yeah, and it was, we never used it either, did we?
So we didn't, because it ended up being terrible, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
We lost the copy of the one that we ended up deciding
Oh,
we were
yeah.
going to do.
Yeah.
And we were like, it's actually good because that really wasn't what we wanted. And so we came up here, we sat down, we sat across this little table from each other, and we just started talking.
Yeah, you started going into
And it felt so
why we
prescribed.
started this and all that. And, it shifted over time. I think that our podcast has turned into something different than what we had originally intended.
I
And
don't
that's
think we
cool.
knew really what we wanted it to be.
No,
at
we
the
didn't.
beginning.
That's the thing. Like,
We had an idea, but
well, it's like what popped out of this, right? We've consulted with a few people on their podcasts. Some of them saw a lot of results. Some of them saw no results because they didn't put in the effort. And
That's
so
true.
it was here or there, right? It was really cool. We got really close to launching a new podcast. We were really excited. It was going to be great. And then
that company tanked, and it was like
either
everything fell.
everything has fallen off, and they just stopped talking to us. And I understand, because they were super stressed out at the time. No wonder why they weren't calling us to record. They're like, I don't want to talk right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know what day it is.
When I realized what went on,
And
it was a lot more.
I was just like, okay, cool.
So we had the episode with Bennett the other day. I guess maybe it's been a month now or so, and he was talking about, like, hey, did you guys think when you started the show that you'd be listened to in 80-something countries around the world? It'd be like #1 cannabis podcast. And it was like, no, we didn't. And he's like,
No.
do you think it would feel like this? And it was like,
We're
I didn't
we're in
think
your
about that. And I was
house.
like,
It's never changed.
it just has always felt like Brandon and Jesse just sitting down, having conversations about cannabis, and just slowly educating, talking about it and that. And it never felt like it was needed to be this big thing or had to be this big thing. And it was just amazing, all the people that we reached and all the people that we connected with. Just even in the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
And thinking back to, like, even some of the guests we had, our very first one, I think, was that company that doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh, yeah. Those guys,
Very professional. They came from, I think it was
super professional.
alcohol and tobacco and drones.
Yeah, and drones. The CEO was drones. Yeah, that was
super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone back and listened to that episode, and that's kind of funny too, man, that you bring that up, because it's just like how we sounded back then is totally different to how we sound now, and we matured over time. But I think what was our big appeal was that we broke it down real simple. We kept it short.
Yeah.
But then you guys started to really love us
and ask for longer episodes.
Yeah, and we were like, fuck, I don't know. I mean, that's a big stretch. And then we started slowly getting there, and we've been on the sesh. We've been trying. We had this idea for probably 2 years, and we weren't ready to do that because
it
honestly,
seemed like, I mean, it's a whole nother show.
But it is. It's a whole nother show. But at the same time, like, it's something that you guys had asked for. You guys are like, hey, we would really like to see you guys twice a week. And we got that multiple times. And it's just like, yeah,
I didn't know if I wanted to take on that level of work.
But it's gotten easier over the time for you, because he does all the editing, everything, as far as what you're hearing and seeing right now.
It has, however.
It's still long.
As of yesterday, I will no longer be on Adobe, meaning I'm going to have to learn Final Cut Pro
Yeah.
for all of that. So I will actually be learning an entire new platform to do all of my editing
Fuck.
for now on.
Well, I'm gonna grab that from you too, so I can learn it as well, because it's just knowledge,
Yeah,
which is awesome.
it's crazy, but I think about like so when we first started, do you remember that thumbnail that we created that was up
Oh, that
for
thing was awful.
a couple
Had
weeks
caricatures of do you
of
still have
you?
it?
I do, and we're gonna put it
Yeah,
up
we
on
got to put it
here.
there. We got to
But
share it on our social too.
oh my god, do I make that's the thumbnail for this episode?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
that's
And
awesome.
so
Just change it out with the sesh.
yeah. So it was like characters of Jesse and I on either side of a chalkboard that just said Cannabis School. And it was like we had no idea what we were gonna do, no idea what the thumbnail should look like. And we kind of sat down. I think we created
We
that when we
launched
were
we
still
launched with that one,
oh,
didn't
we
we?
did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
changed it later.
Yeah, because we both had a discussion. We're like, it just needs to look different.
Something different. We weren't sure what it was, but it wasn't that.
No, and you had Adobe, and so I'm like, you're like, I can get pictures. I'm like,
Yeah, we
oh
got
sweet.
stock photos and
So I'm like,
found some great ones.
find someone with flower, and we went through all of these different
Tons
images
of
of flower.
fonts,
We
tons of
That one
flower.
was the best because it's got that purple hue
That's
to it,
beautiful coloring. Yeah.
and then the writing, I found that in Canva, and I just placed it over top, and it was cool because it really set off the purples of the plant. It looked like this neon sign was lighting up the plant,
Yeah.
and it was just awesome. And we've
And we
even
loved it.
we've
Yeah.
discussed like, oh, maybe we should change it or something. But it's just been with us for so long.
I did have to create a new thumbnail for social after a while because
Yeah,
algorithms started blocking us
because of the
just
word cannabis.
because of our thumbnail.
Oh yeah, because we had
The
flower
plant on it, and it said Cannabis School. But for a year and a half at least, it was like the actual thumbnail that we had on the show. So it was just surprising. Finally did create something new for that, but it's been wild.
Yeah, it's been really crazy. Like the amount of education that we're constantly getting. And not only that, but the amount of strains we have smoked on this.
Yeah.
Like I know people that are just like, nah, dude, I just smoked these. And I'm like, what? Like, what?
I couldn't even imagine. Like, I love certain strains, but I've smoked hundreds and hundreds of strains. And
Yeah.
I could not imagine only smoking 10, 20, 30 strains. What?
And in the middle of trying other new strains, we're still smoking on other stuff that we really like.
Gotta love them.
But that's the thing too. What I've loved about this show and my appetite for cannabis has completely changed from when we first started. And I
Mine
know yours
too.
have as too. We're not canna snobs by any reason, but we're so curious about what are the attributes of that one. Like when we talk to people randomly, we think we're talking to each other. We just know, or we're talking to somebody who really knows their shit in the industry. And you don't realize how much information you pick up from these episodes.
Little stuff that you didn't even realize.
Yeah, and
you're like, oh shit.
you just know so much
Regurgitate
more.
it. And they're like, oh, wait, are you an expert? No, I just smoke.
No,
I guess, yeah.
we are an expert. But the thing is,
We talked about that, but it's something that, like, I still feel like I have imposter syndrome. I still feel like I don't know anything in relation to it.
Yeah, but it's because we're doing it from here, and that's what's the great part about it. That's why we connect with so many people. Is that we look at this as like this is if you were going to put religious practices in there, this is a religious practice that we have. We meet up every week to record episodes for you guys so we can be ahead of the curve. But I mean, honestly, we don't even get to hang out as much anymore.
So Miguel stopped by yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, hey, man, I'm going to Idaho for the 4th, and I would love to, like, have a sesh when we get back. And he's like, not like record an episode. And I was like, no.
No.
Like, actually just hang out and have a sesh.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, cool, because Jesse and I, we don't ever do that anymore. I'm like, we literally hang out to record.
Yeah.
And so we used to hang out, just smoke, play games,
shooting bows.
Shoot bows, bullshit, whatever. And now we don't.
Yeah.
Now it's like we get together to record, and that's when we hang out, or we do gaming online at home.
Yeah, but I mean, you remember back then, Like we
We
didn't
also lived close. You were
I
10
was
minutes away.
closer, but not only that, like I also was just like in so much like we didn't start the podcast until I lived in Lehigh.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember when we barely had it up.
Because it
Like
was
when
June
we
29th
yeah,
is when it launched 3 years ago.
yeah. Yeah, we did it right before then. It's like May or April we were recording and yeah, dude.
Probably April because we had at least 8 episodes when we launched.
But we didn't have as much stress as we have today. The cost of goods was not even that high. When
That's
I
true.
talk
Yeah.
about like with my wife, and we're just like, shit. I mean, we only have so much money, and how are we gonna get this food? Because it's like
Everything's gone up.
fucking expensive. Yeah, it's super
Yeah.
expensive. You know.
I go to buy it, like, to make a meal for the three of us and like 20 bucks, 20 bucks, 20 bucks. Making
Yeah,
it at home. Like,
it's so expensive, and but at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, I've thought about that too, man. And like, you know what? We need to be get to get. I need to get away and interact with somebody, not because there's a money attached to it.
or not because we have to, but still, but
No,
like,
because I want to.
yeah, it's just life has been so overwhelming in the last couple
Yeah,
years that it's been tough.
and we have our own personal shit going on,
Oh,
and
we've gone through, honestly, we've gone through so much
yeah,
through this
dude.
show iteration that it's like, you guys have probably seen, if you've come along from the beginning, seen and heard like at least a little bit of our struggles and just kind of the life that we've gone through, the
Yeah,
challenges, and you know how we've gotten here. So it's been interesting, and I've honestly, I never thought I would enjoy sitting down and talking, having a show that educates about cannabis because honestly, the concept of social media, anything like being famous in the slightest, having any notoriety, I had zero desire for. I had zero desire to be known by a bunch of people because I didn't care.
yeah, and I still don't.
I
I
don't either. It's
I
just, it
I
seems
like
weird
I
to be
it, but
recognized.
the thing that's really cool, right? Some of the things that have been developing more and more, like we're having more serious conversations with cannabis related companies, product companies, to get us to the point where we have so many fun ideas that we would love to do because we want to be able to change. One of the reasons we started this podcast is to change the cannabis culture, at least the view of cannabis culture. Like we don't want them to think that we're just bunch of law-breaking savages who only care about the high and will
Or
steal from their
lazy
family.
stoners and all the
Yeah,
other, you
can't
know,
be productive.
stigmas that are surrounding it. And
Yep.
so, helping break and change that stigma and put it in a new light that shows cannabis for what it is has kind of been a driving purpose behind the show this whole time.
Yeah, and my beliefs as far as when my kids go, like I am the only thing that I need to be okay with later on. This sounds silly and funny, but I need to be okay with which of my kids choose not to use cannabis. Um,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I know my autistic son, like he's always asking me. He's like, "Hey, can I go have some of that cannabis with you?"
I have never given that any thought of like my kids might not use cannabis.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody kind of thinks about it like my kids
Interesting.
might
Yeah.
do this. Like I'm,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like what
Well,
I
but it's usually from a fear standpoint of like, oh, my kids might do this
right,
versus like, oh, yeah, my kids might use cannabis as a tool at some point in their life.
right.
Like, and I think from our standpoint of that, looking at it is like, it is a tool. It can be a tool. And so, if used correctly and if we teach them correctly, why couldn't it be a valuable tool in their tool set?
Well, exactly, and I
But
mean,
not everyone likes that.
but the show's transformed me to that dude to that decision now. I have to be okay with my kids not wanting to use cannabis because now I need to be a little bit more sensitive to them, when they come over for the holidays. Hey, can you get high before the grandkids come over? Because I don't want them to see them smoking out on the deck.
Oh,
Totally fine. right?
Interesting.
What if my
Yeah.
kids are
Bro,
like,
you've given this some deep thought there.
no, honestly, just came right now.
Okay. I was like,
Like I've been
I've
thinking
never
about it,
thought about that.
and I'm just like, it's cool. Like I need to be just as respectful to them, but they need to be just as respectful to me.
See, I feel like I'm more thinking like I haven't usually partaken at family events because I'm trying to be respectful of, they don't like seeing someone else vape or do that.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
but for me, where it's a medicine and I hurt. So for me to use it shouldn't be bad if I'm being correct and educating them. Yeah, I hurt. I'm using this so it helps with my back.
Well, the cool part too is that we can use it in so many different ways. And
Yeah,
that's what's cool too. I mean, we've been able to go through deeper science and understanding and bringing experts on the show talking about not only the nutrients of the plant, but then the production of the plant, how that whole process, the money making. I mean, there's so much down to this amazing doctor we got to talk to. She was amazing. She was
yeah.
super cool.
She's really
And
smart.
and like that just her there is a prime example that cannabis will not make you stupid.
And she's used it since she was 14.
Yeah. And
So,
she smoked it all
like
the
a
way through her
daily
doctorate.
user till she
Yeah.
was 14
Like
from 15.
yeah. Like I was like a whole time we were on the call with her, I was thinking like, why isn't she smoking?
She did.
She did eventually.
Eventually, yeah. She pulled out her little Puffco one, I think,
Cause she
and
was
took a puff, but
because it was like
took her a bit.
we're like, we're smoking on the show. And she's like, uh yeah, yeah. You guys cool if I
Yeah, of course. Right.
why would you even ask? But it's just that, dude. It's yeah, I've just furthered my knowledge on cannabis, but one thing that it has done is that it's helped me figure out what I want to be. I get like that thought of thinking like I should be okay with my kids not using cannabis because I could see that being a problem. Like I've heard of when they're like, "Yeah, I did it because my parents always did it around me."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, that makes logical sense." Right? I knew kids growing up, their parents smoked cigarettes in the house all the time. House smelled like a fucking bar back in the day because you can't smoke in bars anymore. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that whole process, like, it was fucking crazy, dude. Like now it's yeah, they've got a perception that it's bad for you, but I've helped break that stigma with my kids. I'm not going to say that it doesn't hurt you. It can. There's a little bit of pinch
Oh,
that
yeah.
comes with the sweetness here, but
Well,
that's
and that depends
okay.
on, methods of use, like
Yeah,
dosing, all sorts of
you go
stuff.
to a family function, people are probably thinking now like, "Hey, I love using flower, but maybe I could use an edible before I go. Maybe I get a tincture. Maybe I just have my vape pen say I got to get something out of my car and go take a couple hits and blow it in my car and then come back in." Like there's no harm in that. But I think we as cannabis individuals, we placate and try to help others be comfortable about not seeing us do it. But we also need that's
That
what
doesn't
this
help
show has done.
normalize it,
No,
though.
but that's the reason why the show exists because what we're doing is we're trying to give a better light on it. We have deeper discussions in that. We know the plant can do so much. We've had so many calls of people saying that they never used cannabis but started by listening to the show because they felt like they were actually being guided through it. They felt like, oh, I can get a different perspective. That's what helped our friend Jared. Like Jared uses to this day, every day.
It's
He's
huge how it impacts our lives.
yeah, and he is like happier than he's ever been.
Well, so even
He
so,
does marathon running too.
yeah, that's huge. Uh, Last night, even, we were sitting watching Deadpool 2 because Deadpool 3 comes out soon. And Emily's been super crampy lately. And she was like, "Oh, can I can I smoke on something?" I was like, "Sure. What do you want to smoke on?" She was like, and I was like, "There's a pen right there." And she was like, "No, can I smoke out of a bong?" And I was like, "I don't care."
Mm.
And she was like, I've started noticing, it's taken her 5 years. She just started noticing that flower is the better experience. She's
Mm-hmm.
starting to realize why I prefer flower. And she was like, "Yeah, it's more effective and
And
the experience is
lasts
better."
longer. Yeah.
Like it's not as shitty of an experience as it is with concentrates or carts.
It's
Like
like
it's
that
fine.
meme of Big Bird.
Yeah.
It's just a
It's like
regular big bird.
flower
Yeah.
versus carts. It's
It's
like,
like
yeah, he's definitely tattered and, like, seen better days.
that's the thing. It's like when people like, if there was ever a show that was against something, this show would be against Delta 8. Sorry.
Yeah,
Just not it makes me feel gross because I know what you should really be feeling.
yeah, and that's what carts almost feel like. They feel like they're trying to achieve this. Now, the normal carts that are clean and that,
Yeah,
they're
which we
much better,
we now partake of.
way better than anything Delta 8 or like, but it's not flour. It will never be flour. I don't know how it
Nope.
can be.
Nope.
So, right now, like, and that's hard. Like, your wife hates the smell of flour.
Yeah, but the funny thing
She'll
is
still
like,
use it
well,
sometimes.
here's an interesting one. So, she just asked me one night. She goes, "Hey, you got anything new to smoke?" And I'm like, "Well, I got lots of things you've never touched." And she's like, "Can we get something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. What are you feeling?" And she describes how she's feeling at the moment. She's feeling her head. She's got a migraine coming on. She took migraine medication, and it wasn't kicking in. Normally, it does. And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Okay, cool." And I was like, so I look up on Leafly with love affair,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, could be close to that. I wasn't thinking the pain relief, I was thinking euphoria, because I find that when I get euphoria, I don't get headaches. So with the carts, I've been hitting Banana Kush.
Mhm.
Banana Kush wasn't nice to me with the little,
It was a different cultivar and in the
and it was,
Zenko, but
yeah,
yes.
yeah, you
Yeah.
remember that in the Zenko. And I was just like, hey, yeah, whatever. I just dealt with it. But now I just, I am okay with it, but it lasts only a half hour. I found that I don't get a great high from that. I wouldn't have known that.
So did that love affair help Steph then?
Yeah. Thanks
Damn.
for pulling me. I
You're welcome.
was
This is
going on a
smoky.
high
I know.
tangent. Oh
You
my
were like
God.
tangent off there. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, we're smoking on Super Lemon G.
yep.
Ooh. Yeah, I've had a lot and I'm feeling it. But hey, if you're watching this, you're probably seeing my eyes going, that guy's
You
high.
can always tell as Jesse's high goes up because his eyes go down.
Yeah, my eyes go down and I get on tangents. So yes, thank you, Brandon. My wife and I, we went out, we smoked a bowl together on that little MJ Arsenal
Oh, and the
bong.
bong.
That
Okay.
little bong, you guys got to check it out. We'll put a link down below. It is the coolest one. It's super cheap, but it is one of my next to this.
Yeah, it's
It's
your
one
next
of my
favorite one.
favorite bongs.
Okay.
Just a little bit of water. That thing
I
cleans.
do like how small it is. It's like
It's
such a cool little
I
piece.
I just love it. I'm just like, dude, I love this fucking
And on the
thing.
back, it has like a box that you could put ground up flour in,
Yeah,
like a little stash thing
yeah.
with the rubber cap.
I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll probably take that camping.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Oh no, wait a minute.
You
We're
don't want to
going to
break
this.
though.
No, no, I'll just use a vaporizer. My wife smoked it, and within about 15 minutes, she's like, felt really nice because it's kind of a weird strain. It
It was
takes
a
a
creeper,
long time,
yeah.
and then it
But
keeps
once it got
going.
in, it was
Oh,
nice. It was like, oh my
so
gosh.
nice. Like I smoked it last night, and I was able to stay up. But when I was looking at the time. I'm like, okay, this is a reasonable time. I need to go to bed,
Yeah.
and I went to bed,
Okay,
and it was
nice.
the great sleep.
Yeah.
Um, but my wife was like, "And my headache's gone. My mood is better." I'm like,
Oh
"Cool."
yeah.
So when she started, if she ever gets like in a bad mood, I'd be like, "Hey,"
Yeah.
but she's usually like, "No, I'm good." Like she really doesn't want her kids to know.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
Because she would think that would normalize it too much? Or like
it's just the
the stigma
perception.
that's stuck in
Yeah,
everyone's
it's just a
head.
perception.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't, that's fine. But I'm open because they don't think of
It's
this as
her
bad.
relationship,
Yeah, it's
She
her
can
relationship.
choose that.
My kids don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Phoenix, he's the youngest, and I don't hide it from him. He came out one time. I was on the front porch with my air vapes, and I'm just puffing,
That's funny.
looking around
Yeah.
at all this beautiful greenery, and he goes, "What's that?" I explained it to him, and he's like, "Oh." So it smells weird.
That's
And I'm
funny.
like, yeah, smells weird, I guess. And he goes, oh, is that for kids? I'm like, nope. And he goes, okay. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, because they don't know.
what if all of a sudden I hit it in front of him?
Yeah.
What would that do to him? He's like, oh, we hide things.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something wrong, and
Because it's
I
like, oh, wait, I need to hide this.
yeah,
This isn't okay.
just tell me the truth. That's all I want is just
Yeah.
tell me the truth.
It's like, I would much rather have my kids feel like they can be honest and safe with me than afraid to tell me the truth.
Oh
So
yeah,
they hide everything. And then they end up lying. And it's like, what relationship do I want to foster or create with my kids?
right.
Like, I don't need them afraid of me.
And that's honestly like, that thought process came from years of using cannabis the way we have. We've used it as a medicine in many ways. We've used it to be able to disassociate sometimes, but that's a rare occasion. You got to get really high to do that. And I don't like that. I don't like getting to
I
that
feel
point.
like yeah, I don't. Usually, if I get to the point that I'm high, I'm introspective though, or I'm
Yeah, there
thinking about or I'm noticing something. I'm not thinking about everything that's on my mind. I'm sitting outside and I'm noticing the leaves. I'm noticing birds or something. Like
yeah,
I'm watching
listening
the
to the
clouds go
sound.
by. I'm never noticing that I'm like fried or whatever these people imagine that happens when you get like crazy high. Um, Granted, I don't know the last time I've been
Well, yeah, but I
crazy
mean,
high.
it goes to that too. That's one of our audience has learned from us is that take your time,
Go
figure
low and
out your
slow.
dose,
Yeah.
because not only do we want you to save money, I mean, because drugs are expensive.
Yeah, and honestly, why spend more than you have to? You
Yeah.
get the good quality one so it lasts longer. You have the experience you want,
hmm
but
Not doing stupid shit like taking 1 gram dabs.
yeah,
Like,
that's
what a
such a waste.
waste.
Like, what is the purpose?
Like,
What do
take
you actually
tiny
gain out of
amount for
that?
my dab. I haven't done
Yeah,
dab in months.
I haven't either. I still have a good amount,
So do I.
and I'm like, I haven't
I need to.
touched it.
I
Yeah,
need to because it's such a good experience too. Like I
yeah,
don't realize it, and that's the cool thing that you guys get to learn. Like you're gonna get a different experience from an edible to a tincture,
a dab.
a drink.
Yep, a drinkable,
Yeah, like
smoking flower, an edible, vaporizing flower.
yeah, and in every kind of device you can think of, and we're gonna be reviewing more of them here soon. But it is just cool the evolution of the show. The more we've grown, the more you've grown, and the more you respond to us. That's what's ultimately created this show the way it is.
Yeah.
That's
So if
why
there's
the people always listen to it.
episodes that you guys have really wanted to hear this year, shoot us an email.
Yeah,
Shoot us a message below on Spotify. Let us know because we're trying to plan out and structure, figure out what other new things we add in.
yeah,
Um, because as we get sponsors, as we get the ability to invest more time into this, we want to provide more to you guys.
yeah. If you're a part of a company or anything like that that's looking to be able to spend in advertising, we've talked to so many different cannabis companies, and they're just like, we're just trying to figure out, how to be able to get this out there because it's always word of mouth. Like we've talked to so many different people, and it's difficult for them. But now, because of you guys, we got more of them reaching out. We're just trying to figure out like what could we really have that would benefit not just us being able to do more here,
That
but
benefit you
for
guys.
them, yeah, because they can learn more, they can get more. We're
Oh,
getting these
yeah.
cool offers to
Find
be
the
able,
best products and get the
yeah,
best deals on the best products because honestly, like,
and discovering new things about ourselves,
yeah, different methods, different tools, honestly, even different things that help us in life. So,
right? Well, and I think that the ad of the sesh, which we've been talking about forever, the ad of the sesh gives us an opportunity to be able to have more in-depth conversations
oh yeah.
instead of doing it primarily just for the
Like cannabis education, we can just have cannabis infused conversations.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
we sometimes we worried about that with the sesh. We're like, oh, it's
I
got
know.
to be this, it's got to be that.
And that's been our struggle of like, oh, we need it to be this. And I think it's that same struggle at the beginning of like, I need it to be this instead of just letting it be.
Yeah, because we've tried other things too. Like remember when we used to talk about food and stuff? Like we wanted to, because it was
Ah,
good because it gave us better
yeah.
structure over
Well,
time, and now we've just kind of eliminated them when we flow.
or like at the very, very beginning when it had music. And there's still
The
an
whole episode.
Yeah, and there's still an episode somewhere in there that I found that it has it in there. And I'm like, "Shit, I don't have the original
Dude,
audio file, so I can't
leave it.
recreate this.
That's
It
awesome.
exists somewhere,
Because the funny thing about that
but there's just
episode
one."
was the replies. Like, dude, I was freaking the fuck out.
Oh,
Like,
like, "I'm so high, I thought, like, am I imagining this? Is there, like, music in the background?" Like, "Oh god."
and when we started hearing that, we're like, oh
Like,
shit,
"Okay,
let's take it out.
yeah,
Because we loved it.
we did." We're
I
like, "Oh, this
loved
feels
it.
like such a chill vibe, just like having a sesh with friends."
Oh
And then we're just
yeah.
like, "Oh, man, too many people are going, 'Hey, it's distracting. We can't focus. We can't
Can't
hear what
hear
you're
you.
saying.'"
Yeah.
Like, oh no. Plus, we went through 3 different mics because we originally had bought one, and then we're like, well, let's try
Oh
this
yeah. Some of
one. And
these
then,
older episodes are horrible
yeah,
sounding.
the audio quality. And it would be like, it would be weird because sometimes it would be just a slight angle difference,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like nothing else would be touched, and the angle on the mic would be different, and sound quality would be shit. And we're like, no. So it's been quite the journey. And oh my God. All right, so there's this moment that I remember as we were starting the show, and we would always had a bucket of episodes because we realized if we didn't have a bucket, it'd be stressful.
Yeah.
And we hadn't gotten together, life had been hectic, a lot of things are going on, and we just didn't record and didn't record. And then I left on a trip,
Yeah.
and I brought the mics with me, and I'm like, Jesse, we have to record. And we sat down the night before it dropped. I was in a hotel, I think in Nevada
Yeah, I
somewhere,
remember this.
and I sit in this tiny closet that they have, like the little, they're not an ottoman, they're
Yeah,
whatever the hell
it's
they
like an
are.
ottoman.
But well,
I
I
know what you're
think the
talking
ottoman you
about.
put your feet on, but like
Oh.
the dresser ones that are like
Oh,
tall standing, it's
uh
not an ottoman. It's
what is that?
I can't think of what it's called right
It's
now.
like a fancy
A
name.
boudoir.
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
Fuck.
But I was sitting in it on the one side, so
That's
it's
gonna mess with
really
me.
small because the other side has drawers. And I'm piling pillows around me, on top of
I
me,
remember
in
this.
front of me, and we're recording. He's in at home in Utah. That way I can hurry and edit this episode and
Get it
get it
out
up in
before
like
Tuesday.
no, it was in a couple hours.
Oh yeah, a
Because
couple hours.
it was like, all right, midnight comes in a couple hours. This launches at midnight. We need to record because I still have to edit this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fuck. So I don't even remember the episode that one
I
was.
don't either, but I remember that because
It
that
was
was at a time where I
hilarious.
mean, when we did remote recordings just whenever we had to, like that was crazy. It was
It
super
was so
crazy.
different.
But it was awesome though. Like I mean, now we've got it so scheduled out
Yeah, every
and
week,
we
just get
we
together,
keep it and
record a
sometimes
couple
we can't
episodes.
get together because of one thing or another. And that's okay because we are really this to us feels like a responsibility.
It is,
And
100%.
if we're not doing this, if we're not in front of you, you
If we're
know,
not producing and
and we're
providing that
yeah,
thing you're showing up
and
for,
seriously, at all transparency right now, like if we're doing well, we're excited because that we can do more. That's all. We're not think of it like, other podcasts are like make millions of dollars, bro. Like, you know what? If you can, cool, then you now have a responsibility to give.
I
If
just think of all the products and stuff that we could create and help people with
yeah,
and
dude,
stuff.
like
Like,
all the things we've talked about and
yeah.
all these other little inventions that only come to you when you're
Well, we have so many
really
product ideas and things, and it's like, all right, it'll get there. It'll
yeah,
get
it'll
there
get there.
one
It's
day.
just but it's because we love doing this.
We love you guys. This has been
Yeah.
incredible. And just like the connections, the people that there's been people who have joined along the way, people who have followed from the beginning. And it's been really cool to like chat with you guys, connect with you guys. It's it's been a lot of fun.
The
And
I think the funniest thing though was like you remember that time we played with this guy online?
Kyle.
No, different guy. We're playing Insurgency.
Okay.
It was not too long ago. And we're playing and this guy was playing with us and we're just like, "Oh yeah, we have a cannabis
Oh,
podcast."
podcast.
And he's like no
Yeah.
way. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, really? And I'm like, he started looking at me. He goes, holy shit, you're at the
Yeah.
top. And I'm like, yeah, dude. I said, you should listen to it.
I
Oh
forgot
yeah,
about
that's really
that.
cool. He's like, hey man, we should be friends. And I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll be friends. And then they had this little group that he was a
Oh,
part of,
yeah.
and they were so annoying.
It was like a bunch of kids, and we got in there, and they were just saying really dumb shit all the time.
And they were getting mad because I kept taking off and I was
Yeah,
in
they
front of
wanted,
everybody.
like, to hold and wait for a long time and
They
do
wanted
these
to
weird
move
things, and I'm like,
slow. These guys have been
"I don't
watching Black Hawk
I don't know
Down.
what you guys are playing, but this is not that game."
Yeah,
So,
you got to know the map,
I was like,
and when you're going
"Alright."
through, like,
But they were all new in it too.
dude, I'm such a dork. You know what I've been doing?
Mm.
Been learning proper radio comms.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm excited because,
That's funny.
dude, there's some games out there like this one game called Squad, and it's like a real it's a military sim. And if you're in a tank, you have one job, and everybody else in the tank has the one job to do. But if you work together, it works. And dude, they were doing the tank, and they've got a loader,
Yeah,
they've got a gunner on top, they've got another dude over here,
and the guy
and
driving.
and the driver.
Yeah.
And the driver only sees out of like this little
Tiny
slit.
slit, yep.
Yeah, my brother, he says it's like driving a four wheeler because you don't have steering wheel, you have
Oh,
handlebars,
weird.
right? Crazy, and
Yeah,
that
that
thing can get up
is.
to 60 miles an hour.
I mean, I've taken a four-wheeler 60, but it's not a tank.
Yeah, fucking tank. And they've like simulated all these things. Like you could you just hear tings off the sides of there
That'd
if
be
bullets
crazy.
are shooting at it. But
Huh,
yeah,
that
dude,
sounds entertaining.
everybody's doing it, and you hear the guy loading it, and he's all up, and it was and all proper radio call. You know how it sounds like.
That's funny.
So like,
Yeah,
oh, they're moving from the left, like whatever they say. I'm just
yeah.
like, dude, I want to sound like that guy.
Dude, that's
Like that's how
funny.
much of a
Well,
dork I.
like,
But when I'm high, I don't think about not being cool.
I know, you're like, "Oh, what do I properly
I
say
just want
here?"
to feel good. I
Yeah,
just want to.
right?
It's fun because when we play, it's fun,
It is fun.
and it's always cannabis infused.
Yeah, I don't
But I
know
will tell you this.
how to
This
play
this
without
why I
that.
brought it up. Uh, I'm not doing that anymore because they're weird as shit, and they were annoying and constantly sending invites
Yeah, it'd be like
every
all the
day,
time, every day, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And then
random.
I'd get tons more requests and that. I'm like, "Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
put
even
it
know who you
up.
people are."
But I mean
Oh, you
I friended a bunch of people because it was one of the episodes we did. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, it
yeah,
was our
you
very
told me
first one.
that one, but it was like when we did the group with all the little kids and stuff that they like that guy added them and they were all those it
Oh,
basically seemed like little kids. They were being obnoxious
when
as
we
hell.
tried, what is it? What we did? It was the live one. Do you remember that?
Our live episode that we tried
Yeah.
to
Do you guys
do,
remember when
or live
we
stream.
totally fucked up on that live stream? It's just technology was not. We just tried to do a
Well,
bunch of things and it didn't work
it was
out.
tried to yeah, it was supposed to cast to multiple places, but because it was going to Instagram, Instagram needs a different aspect ratio,
Dude, there
and so
was
it was like
tons of people on
crazy
Instagram.
zoomed in and only showed the bong, and it was like nothing else.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
it was awful. And then we used a Zoom account, sent it out, and people showed up, but then it turned into this like weird.
Oh, someone invited a friend, and it
Yeah.
ended up being some weird kid who seemed super young,
Oh, he was
and
just being obnoxious.
I
He was
thought he
just
was on the
trolling.
spectrum of some,
Nah, he was
honestly.
trolling. That kid was straight trolling. Because
I
he was
just
saying that,
we
dude.
just
I mean, I know a lot about the spectrum. I'm like,
so we kicked him out.
yeah, but
We
he was
booted
and
him
I was getting after
because
him.
I was like kind of just fucking annoyed.
Yeah. Well, I was giving it to him. But it was just like, it's things like that that we've learned, and a lot because of you guys, but we know that that's something that you guys want too, and we're trying to make that happen too with our
I
lives
wonder
and
if
our
we can
time.
do a live with you at home and me at home, because that would make it easier. And I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, I'd rather do it together in the same place because then we can sesh together and we can talk about
I
whatever we
won't say
want.
no.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's the
I have
thing.
to
It's
smoke and hang out with my friend. That sounds tough,
that
man.
sounds really hard.
Bro,
And then hang out with you guys, like
yeah,
sweet.
it's a
Like
rough time.
honestly, like that's why like now we want to be able to make this more of a full-time thing.
Yeah. If you
And
guys want to help support us, help us be able to do more with the show, we're actually on, you can go buy us a joint.
Yeah.
and help support the show through there, I'll put the link below, and you can help us reach, more people, create better episodes, better content,
Mm-hmm.
and help us get the direction that we have in our minds that we just haven't been able to achieve yet.
And we want to offer different things in there for different tiers. That we couldn't get really with Patreon because it was just more difficult, and it was kind of set in stone once it was put in there.
I have to delete them all and kick people out to
Yeah,
rebuild it.
it was just like, we want to find something we have a little bit more control over, and this one has been the coolest one. And yeah, I mean, it's an easier thing, but honestly, we're not trying to make a living off of you guys. We want to make this something that we can create even more for you, because we need that in the cannabis community, and we've made a real positive impact on that.
Yeah, and we'd love to continue keeping to make more because I don't think we're going anywhere.
Yeah, no, we're not going anywhere, and yeah, there's a lot of cool ideas that we want to do, but we just want to thank you guys for being with us for these 3 years.
We love you guys so much and
Yeah.
are so thankful for you that we're doing a giveaway for our 3 years where you can win this Omura
This is
Series
really
X.
that's a really cool concept.
It has fillable tubes that you can do to
Yeah,
dose
they're like
out your vaporizer.
yeah,
And
they're
you
like
put
little cigarettes.
you put little flour in it and then you can carry this on it. And it's super dope. It's sleek, it's green, and a very cool matte green color.
It's a very medicinal use of
Oh
of
yeah.
flower. You get a small dose. So for those that are getting into cannabis, or maybe you've got a family member or a close friend that they've been asking you a lot of questions, this would be an ultimate Christmas gift for them.
Perfect one. And it
right?
comes with the home filling system, box of the
Yeah, you got
tubes.
Yeah, you got quite a bit in here. This is awesome.
We're also going to give you a hash stash box.
So
So you can roll.
it's
put your
really
stash
cool
in
because it's
there.
got the thing that I wish mine did, which is just this little
latch lock.
combination
Yeah.
lock, which is so cool. These guys were really generous to be able to give us this, and we're excited to be able to give it to you.
Oh
And
yeah.
we also have a stash grinder. This is really cool. It's like
I
cork
love
or
the
something,
wood
or
on
leather.
top.
Is
It
that
looked-
wood?
Yeah, I thought it was walnut.
Whoa, yeah, it's
It's
wood.
beautiful.
These teeth have been amazing.
I love stash.
This is one of the
That's
coolest.
what we use every day on the show is a stash grinder.
Yeah, they're awesome. They have so many. This one's really good.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's super beautiful. I really like this one. I actually wish I had another stash one because
He gave his away.
well, I gave it to my brother-in-law. He was very touched because he picks his apart like a savage.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, I know. It's like, have you ever smoked that?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
I had a buddy who did that once or twice, and it was horrible. And it didn't burn nice. It didn't roll smooth.
No, because you're gonna get inconsistencies with it.
Yep. And it was like, this is the shittiest
Too many
smoke,
air pockets and
yep,
shit.
that I have had. And I gave him
Never
a
would've been
grinder
able to do
because
that
I was
without
like,
the show.
you need this. Like,
Yeah, seriously. Like I was like, here, dude. I gave him that, and I gave him my happy camper.
I get I get loving to pull apart your bud, but I pull it apart and put it in my grinder.
Dude, this is such a cool
Right?
grinder, dude.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
I
we're
love their stuff.
So excited.
So you can go to Instagram, TikTok, like the post, share the post.
Yeah.
Well, to be entered to win, tag a friend in the post. Tag 2 friends and like the post.
Yeah, or even share it.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate you guys tuning in to us.
We love you guys.
Yeah,
It's
we
been
do.
awesome. It's been a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, and if you know what, we have emails all the time that come out to us telling their story and asking questions. Please feel free. If you want to be a guest on the show for the sesh, hit us up down there below.
Shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.